Hello friends, welcome to the Crime Stories channel. And today, I will tell you about a crime incident that took place in Ghaziabad, Uttar Pradesh. So let's dive into the details of this incident. It was early morning on October 22nd, 2023, when the phone of Zoya's brother, Danish, began ringing. Danish woke up, reached out from under the blanket, picked up the phone from the table, and saw the name Ajrudin flashing on the screen. He thought to himself, "What does Ajrudin need from me at this hour?" With confusion, Danish answered the call. Danish said, "Hello, how are you calling me?" On the other end, Ajrudin said in a serious tone, "Your sister Zoya's dead body is lying in room number 209 at Hotel Anant, Rohan Enclave." Then Ajrudin disconnected the call. Danish kept calling, "Hello, hello," but Ajrudin had turned off his phone. Danish quickly got out of bed and left for Ghaziabad without informing his father. By the time he reached Hotel Anant, the sun had fully risen. Danish rushed to the hotel reception where the manager was on duty. He said, "There is my sister Zoya's dead body in room number 204. The manager, startled, asked, "Who told you that a dead body is in our hotel? You should check first." Danish, raising his voice, repeated, "There's a body in room number 204. The manager ran to room number 204 with Danish following behind. They opened the door and found Zoya's body on the bed. The police were immediately informed through the Web City police station. Upon reaching the scene, SO Ankit Chauhan and ACP Saloni arrived. After inspecting the scene, the police began questioning the hotel manager. He explained, "This young woman named Zoya came to the hotel with her husband Ajrudin 2 nights ago. Last night her husband told me he was going out to bring food, but I never saw him return. After Danish arrived and opened the door, the body was found." SO Ankit Chauhan approached Danish, who was still crying. He sympathetically placed his hand on Danish's shoulder and asked, "How did you know your sister's body was in room number 204? Danish replied, "Ajrudin himself called me this morning and informed me about it." "Ajrudin is your brother-in-law?" asked ACP Saloni. Danish replied, "No, Ajrudin is not my brother-in-law. He had a love affair with my sister Zoya, but recently Ajrudin was imprisoned for stealing bikes. We did not approve of the relationship, and I arranged for Zoya to marry a man from Delhi. Their wedding was supposed to take place on November 14th. "Where does Ajrudin live?" asked ACP Saloni. "He lives in Kalangdi village, Ghaziabad," Danish answered. ACP Saloni called in a forensic team to gather evidence from the scene, after which Zoya's body was sent for a post-mortem. Meanwhile, Ankit Chauhan was assigned to arrest Ajrudin. He led a raid in Bagdi to capture Ajrudin, but he had already fled. On October 20th, 2023, the police finally captured Ajrudin during a vehicle check while he was headed towards Daulana. Upon seeing the police, Ajrudin tried to flee, but the police shot him in the leg to stop him. He was brought to the Web City police station. During the interrogation, a love crime story emerged. Zoya, who was also called Shehzadi, was desired by many young men, but her heart belonged to Ajrudin, also known as Ajru. Ajrudin was married with 5 children, and his wife, Zinat Begum, was very beautiful. About 4 years ago, in Aligarh, while buying a gold ring for his wife, Ajrudin first met Zoya. He was struck by her beauty. Zoya, noticing his surprise, approached him and smiled, saying, "Get a grip, sir. I'm just a human, not a heavenly Apsara." Ajrudin, still in awe, managed to respond, "You're even more beautiful than Apsaras." Zoya smiled and asked, "Can I know your name?" He replied, "My name is Ajrudin, but people call me Ajru. I live in Kalangdi village near Ghaziabad." Zoya laughed and said, "So we're practically neighbors." This meeting sparked a mutual attraction, but it was clear that Zoya had a deep affection for him, even though Ajrudin was married. This love story set the stage for the tragic events that followed. Zoya liked the ring with a gemstone and asked the jeweler, "How much is the price of this ring?" The jeweler replied, "It costs 15,000. When the jeweler suggested weighing the ring, Zoya began to open her purse. "You don't need to," Azru immediately said, and took out 15,000 from his pocket, handing it to the jeweler. Zoya was shocked and confused. A stranger, whom she had met only a few moments ago, was paying for the ring she liked, 15,000, not just part of it, but the full price. For a moment, Zoya was speechless. Then she said, "Azru, I bought this ring. Why are you paying for it?" Azru smiled and said, "This is a gift from me to you." Zoya looked at Azru with love in her eyes and said, "If you are giving me this gift, then please put it on my finger yourself." Azru took Zoya's hand, placed the ring on her finger, and Zoya kissed it, saying with emotion, "Azru, from today, you are very close to me. I will keep this priceless gift forever." Azru smiled. After that, both of them left the shop and went their separate ways. But before leaving, they exchanged mobile numbers. The exchange of sweet conversations began between Zoya and Azru over the phone. They started meeting at picnic spots, restaurants, and parks. Their bond of love began to grow. Azru had not yet told Zoya that he was married. He wanted to tell her the truth because Zoya had started loving him deeply, even dreaming of marriage with him. Azru didn't want to take her to the point where Zoya would have a hard time returning after learning the truth. He was waiting for the right moment. One day, Zoya asked him to book a room in a hotel. Azru had been feeling for days that Zoya was eager to be with him completely. Whenever they met, she would hug him tightly, unloading all her emotional weight on him. Deciding to tell her the truth, Azru booked a room in a hotel in Aligarh. When he told Zoya, she was overjoyed and came to Aligarh that evening. Azru was waiting outside the hotel. They went into the hotel room, and as soon as they entered, Zoya draped her delicate arms around his neck. She rubbed her nose against his and chirped, "I have accepted you as my king." Azru smiled and said, "I too long to have you completely, Zoya," but Zoya looked at him in surprise. "What is it?" she asked. Azru became serious and looked at her. He had made up his mind and slowly said, "I'm already married, Zoya. I have 5 children." The princess stood in shock for a few moments, staring at Azru, then smiled and said, "You are married, but that doesn't matter to me. I will lie in a corner as your wife. I only want your love, nothing else." Zoya continued, "Think about it, Azru. This step, taken in the heat of passion, might cause trouble for you later. You might regret this decision when you lose everything in your carelessness." Azru responded, "Zoya, I have loved you with all my heart. If you had tried to hide this love from me, I would have been deeply hurt. You've set an example of being a good person. I know I'm doing wrong by deceiving my wife, Zinat. Do you know why? Because you are the most beautiful thing in the world, and you have occupied my heart. I can't live without you anymore." Zoya, in a seductive tone, said, "Oh, Azru," and hugged him tightly. Azru pulled her fragile body into his arms and kissed her lips passionately. After winning her completely, Azru became crazy for Zoya and began spending freely on her. He bought her expensive gifts, filling her with luxurious jewelry. Their love story grew deeper. Zoya appreciated Azru's obsession. She never hesitated to heat Azru with the sensual warmth of her body. Azru had fallen completely under her spell. He was dreaming of her even in his sleep. Azru's madness led him to sell his family's land and use the money for Zoya's desires. Zoya enjoyed the expensive gifts, which made her feel like she was flying. Zoya's father and brother were aware of her wandering behavior, but remained silent since the house was filled with luxury items. They even hoped that Azru would marry Zoya. Azru visited them, and they treated him with great respect, seeing him as Zoya's future husband. Meanwhile, Azru's wife, Zinat, was troubled by his changing behavior. She saw that Azru was selling his family's land, but wasn't spending the money at home. She suspected he had started a business. One day, a friend of Azru came to visit, but Azru wasn't home. Zinat asked about him, and his friend casually mentioned, "Azru has gone mad for Zoya." Zinat's heart raced upon hearing Zoya's name. "Zoya? Where does she live?" she asked. "Zoya lives in Dulana Hapur. Azru has fallen for her," his friend explained. Zinat, now understanding the truth, was heartbroken. She felt betrayed and decided to confront Azru. When Azru came home that night, Zinat directly asked him about Zoya. Azru, caught off guard, admitted, "I love Zoya. If my love was enough for you, you wouldn't be questioning me." Zinat cried, "I will not share you with anyone else. I will never accept that you love someone else." Azru, however, was firm in his feelings for Zoya. He added, "You stay at home with the kids. I'm giving you everything you need, but my heart is with Zoya." Zinat couldn't take it anymore and left with her children. Azru, now fully consumed by his love for Zoya, didn't stop her. Over time, Azru sold his house and everything else to fulfill Zoya's wishes. But eventually he ran out of money and resorted to stealing motorcycles, which he sold for cheap. He was caught and sent to jail. Zoya, upon hearing this, went to visit Azru in jail. She cried, but her family, aware of Azru's crimes, quickly arranged a marriage for Zoya. Azru somehow got bail and met Zoya for a final time. He begged her to break off the relationship, but Zoya refused, saying she could never marry a thief. Azru, heartbroken and desperate, poisoned her drink, and when she fell unconscious, he smothered her to death with a pillow. After killing Zoya, Azru called his friend Jalal, who helped him dispose of the body. The next morning, Azru informed Zoya's brother about her death, and soon Azru confessed to the crime. He was arrested and sent to police remand. Jalal was also arrested for his involvement. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and share your thoughts on this story in the comment box. I'll see you with a new story next time. Take care, and thank you.